All right, guys, we are back for the second edition of the podcast today. It is Sunday, June 2nd, 2024. MMAOB Daily Podcast. Adam Martin, Big Marcel, UFC Louisville preview. Looking forward to talking about this card, Marcel. We got 14 fights on the docket. I'll just start it off, Marcel. Might as well ask you like your overall thoughts on this card before we break them down. Just give me your quick take on the card as a whole. What do you think about it?
That's an okay card, man. I think only I was kind of surprised with some switching they did with the bout order. I think Moises against Klein should definitely be on the main card, and it was on first, but they switched it. It's an okay card, man. I'm wondering how the judging and the officiating will be on this card. Let's don't hope they put Colonel Sanders in it, but yeah, looking forward to it, man.
Yours, me. The Colonel. Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen the episode of Family Guy where he's like joking about it. You ever see that show?
No, I haven't.
You don't? Do they have that there?
Yeah, definitely. But I haven't seen the
Okay, he's like, I'm looking for Colonel Sanders. Who? The Colonel. Like it's actually pretty funny. Okay. All right, let's get into the podcast. We're gonna use the UFC stats. Actually, let me get some comments. Sorry, guys. We got Knox in here. Lots of fighters coming off a loss. Yeah, that's the way it is, right? This is one of those cards where they're going to cut half the losers, or maybe all of them. Crazy how bad the card's selling. Top tier immediately, almost completely outsold, even with tickets starting at 69. If I lived there, I would go for sure. I mean, come on, I agree. That's a good price. I think there's some good fights on this card. Cristiano could play Colonel Sanders, stick costume. There you go, Marcel.
Plus, I always tell people, man, it's a fun experience to go to a UFC
card. It's the best.
Even if the fights aren't like that great, you always have a good time.
I had a friend, like, I'm not going to say his name, but I had a friend like a while ago, and he's a huge UFC fan, but he's like, I don't want to go to the fights, and I'm like, why? And he's just like, oh, it's better watched on TV. I'm like, you've never been? How do you know? Like, obviously TV is great, but being there is amazing. So,
gotta be honest, if you watch on TV, it's okay as well. You see a lot more probably. But if you want to have the atmosphere, the atmosphere is amazing.
Second to none, man. I mean, you really don't get that kind of atmosphere anywhere else. But I completely agree. I mean, the angles and stuff for sure. Torelli, Mike Bell, and Sal as the judges. Imagine Dave Torelli gets a call for this card. Fuck that. Actually, it's a good question, though, who it's going to be. It'll probably be some, like, local guys, I would imagine, and then you'll see some of the bigger names. They fly these guys around. You'll probably see Sal D'Amato, Chris Lee, and Derek Cleary and stuff. All right, let's go to the card here, guys. Our first fight of the night, we have the women's strawweights as Rayanne dos Santos takes on UFC newcomer Puja Tomar. And the odds for this one have Rayanne dos Santos is slight favorite here, minus 238, plus 195 on Puja Tomar. Let me start on this one, Marcel. So I'll be honest with you guys, didn't know a lot about Tomar. I know that she fought in one championship, watched her fights, wasn't really impressed, I got to be honest with you. Her record's not very good either. I know they're trying to break in that Indian market. I get that. So they need to find some fighters from that market to go in the UFC. But to me, she's just not that great. I wasn't too impressed. She makes a lot of mistakes on the ground, especially. Rayanne dos Santos, I'll give her some credit. Like, she did lose her debut against Talita Alanchar, but I think a lot of people thought she should have won that fight, Marcel. And she kind of got bad end of a split decision. And at least she had fought someone who's in the UFC. She's fought in the UFC. And also on Contender, she fought Denise Gomes, who's a very, very good fighter, I would say. So to me, like, yeah, if you look at her record, UFC stats, it's not great, but she's fought better competition. And then obviously before that, Marcel, she had, fought some decent competition as well over in, Invicta, right? So to me, she's the more experienced fighter overall. She's fought better competition, I think, overall. I know that Tomar's fought some decent fighters in one championship, like Stamp and Fair Tax and stuff. But to me, like, it's just, I wasn't too impressed, man, with what I saw. I just wasn't. And again, someone who makes a lot of mistakes, especially in the ground. I think Dos Santos wins. Am I running the window to bet on her? Not really, but I think she wins. I'll say a decision. I think a stoppage is possible too, though. So what do you think?
Yeah, like Rayanne dos Santos. It's like you said, man. She fought Alanchar last time out. I think I picked Talita to win, but I thought Rayanne did enough to win, to be honest. She's a former Invicta champion. She beat Julian de Curcy as well. I remember also in the Contender series fighting Denise Gomes was a really fun fight. I remember that the UFC was like, we're going to give you a win bonus, and she was like, give me the contract, not the win bonus, So she got a loss to Alexia Tainara, who's fighting Fatima Klein, I think, on the Dana White Contender series later this year. If you look at Puja Tomar, Yeah, man. I mean, I've not been really high on her, man. I've seen her fight in one championship before, and she got one win there, and it was a split decision win. Um, to be really honest, I think Rayanne puts her away by TKO.
Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, she's been finished a couple times by stoppage, so it's possible. I want to get this comment, by the way, from Antoine. Where is it?
Yeah.
He said, "What's up, boys? This card's on my birthday. I'm going to see it. Going to on a Greyhound from Louisville, from Georgia to Louisville to see it. That's amazing, dude. Hope you have a good time, man.
I feel like an idiot, but what is a Greyhound?
Greyhound's like a bus. It's like
Okay.
like a bigger bus. There's like a bathroom, so you can take a crap on it, Marcel, if you wanted. You can
Oh,
also
okay. Yeah,
you
good.
can sleep on it too. So they don't, they used to have them in Canada. I don't think they have them up here anymore. But I remember taking them once. I went to a friend's wedding and I had to take it from Vancouver to this place called Penticton, which was I think it was like a 5-hour bus ride. It was pretty crazy, but yeah, it was definitely an experience. I'll say that. All right, guys, let's go back to the card. Our next fight is Taylor Lapilus taking on Cody Stamann, UFC men's bantamweight division. Lapilus, double impact, minus 218. Cody Stamann, plus 180. Who's your pick in this one, Marcel?
Man, this is kind of a hard pick in my opinion. If you look at Cody Stamann, we know he's kind of a wrestling heavy kind of guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got those wins against Lacerda and Eddie Wyland, or I should say the ghost of Eddie Wyland, pretty much. Respectable guy, by the way, former WEC champion, so nothing bad about him. Lost the last fight against Douglas Silva de Andrade. Douglas Silva de Andrade is a pretty difficult fight for almost everybody outside the top 15 in the UFC, so I don't put it against him. If you look at Taylor Lapilus, man, last time he got pretty much... He didn't do bad, man, against Farid Basharat, but, man, at a certain moment, Farid got him down. But I think Taylor has pretty decent takedown defense. If you look at him against Kalen Loughran, where he won, Kalen also tried to keep him to the ground the whole damn time. I think if this fight stays standing, Taylor wins this fight, man. And Stamann can win this fight, but he has to take it to the ground. But I'm picking Taylor by a unanimous decision to win this one.
I like him too in this fight. I think he wins, man. I think he's going to keep it on the feet. I think he's going to be the better striker, faster striker. And I think he wins a decision. I like Taylor quite a bit in this fight. Listen, Cody's a decent fighter. He's been around for a while, but, hasn't had a ton of success lately. I think Taylor, he's going to prove to be a difficult matchup, I think, in this fight. Again, very good striker, I think. And again, he had UFC experience in the past, right? Like, he has a good record in the UFC overall. So, to me, this is a good fight for him against a guy who, is a little bit older, a little bit. I don't want to say he's like on a decline necessarily because he's fought pretty good competition, obviously. But yeah, I favor Taylor. I'm higher on him, and I think he wins the fight. So there you go. And this is a good point too. I mean, you'd like to see Cody wrestle a bit more, but even then, I think he'll struggle to get the takedowns. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We have another women's bout here. We got Eduarda Moura taking on Denise Gomes, women's strawweight division again. Marcel, in this fight, we have Moura as favored, minus 166, Denise Gomes plus 140. I think it opened as a pick'em, so the money's coming on Moura. And Marcel, my initial thought was Gomes, but the more I looked into it, I like Moura in this fight. I think the wrestling is going to play in this fight, guys. I think she'll be able to take the fight to the ground. And the reason why is, we saw in the last fight with Angela Hill, Denise Gomes has not got great takedown defense. And we also saw that against Loma Bumbi. So against two strikers, they're taking her down. And, it wasn't good. Obviously on the feet, she's got power. We saw this knockouts. Yasmin knockout was nice. Bruno Brazil, nice knockout. But on the ground, she's kind of lost. And Moura, she's very good grappler. She's undefeated in her career. She has experience in the UFC now. She had the great win over Canelo Ruiz, who's also a good wrestler in her own right, and took her down and controlled her and beat her up and stopped the fight. I like Moura in this fight, man. I think she wins. I think it'll be a decision, though. I don't know if she finishes, but I like her to win the fight. I think the money's coming on the right fighter. What do you think, dude?
Moura's much bigger. I think Moura takes her out, man, by submission. So I'm on Eduarda Moura here. I hope she makes weight this time. But I'm definitely Eduarda Moura. I like her. I like how she fights. I think she's a really, really good wrestler as well. She comes from the same camp as Jelton Almeida, right? I'm Eduarda Moura completely here.
There you go. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. This is a fun one, Marcel. We got the sexy Mexi John Castaneda taking on Daniel Marcos, the Peruvian fighter. Odds for this one, we got sexy Mexi minus 115, so very slight favorite here against Marcos minus 105. I'll get your thoughts on this one first, Marcel. Who do you think, Sexy Mexi or Marcos? I know you like the nickname, that's why I keep saying it. But
I said I like the sister, but that's something.
I know
else.
you like the sister.
With all respect, John, if you're watching this, I know. But
Yeah, gonna beat you up now.
Yeah, fun fight, man. I like it. I think if you look at Daniel Marcos, he has been he was supposed to fight first Victor Hugo. He was to fight Carlos Vera, Daniel Santos. All didn't happen. Then he fights Orochi Lang, and then it gets to a no contest because of a groin strike. Yeah, and he fought Davy Grant last year, right? And he won a split decision, which maybe should have been Davy Grant's side, but he didn't get that. With John Castaneda, man, I like him a lot, but he's sometimes a little bit inconsistent, man. Like you saw against the Daniel Santos fight, where he had a really good first round, and then he gave it pretty much away in the second round, and he lost by knockout. He got 2 wins after that. Man, I'm going. I don't know what the odds are, but who's the favorite here?
No, it's a slight favorite to Castaneda, -115. Like some books have it to pick on -110.
Then I'm picking the favorite here. I thought I was picking an underdog, but apparently I'm picking the favorite.
It's a very close fight according to the odds. Yeah, I actually am. I think Marcos wins. I like both guys, but I like Marcos a little bit, man, because to me, first off, he's undefeated still. I know he probably should have lost the Dave Grant fight, but he got the job done. I just think the guy, the last fight too, by the way, he should have won that fight. So it was kind of like, you kind of got one taken away, or he got lucky in that one, and then he got one taken away in his last fight. I think his striking's better, dude. That's why I like him in this fight, because I think that Castaneda is a pretty good wrestler, but I don't think he's going to be able to take down Marcos easily. Marcos has good takedown defense. On the feeling, Marcos is going to be the more effective striker. I think he lands the bigger shots here and wins a decision. That's what I'm thinking happens here. Like, I actually like him a decent amount here. Maybe nice to give him a plus money, but even now he's only a small favorite, or a small underdog, I should say, -105. So it's basically like even money anyways. Yeah, I mean, this is one we got wrong. I shouldn't say wrong. We have at odds with each other. I don't know if it's a true dog pick though, because he's only -105, but technically it is. So roof, I guess, a small dog, -105. I got a puppy here, Marcel. I'm going to bet on the puppy. That's what we're going to call him. Yeah. Sexy Mexi will fight for your money. I think Marcos will too, dude. I think so too. Moura's a beast. Looks like Suarez. Yeah, a little bit. I can see the comparison. All right, next fight, we got Andrea Lee taking on Montana De La Rosa in the rematch here that no one's asking for, but we get it. Andrea Lee -125, Montana De La Rosa +105. Yeah, not too excited about this fight, man, to be honest with you. It's kind of in the middle of this card, the prelim card, too. I don't know why. I think this fight could have been like the first fight or second fight of the night. They did fight before. Andrea won the decision. That was in 2019. Boy, they're both fades to me. I mean, it's tough because Andrea's lost 4 straight fights. She's looked terrible for the most part. Montana's lost 3 straight fights. She's looked also very bad. They have fought decent competition. We'll give them that. But it's tough, man. It's tough. For me, though, it's like the one big difference here is you got a girl that's, still in her 20s, and Montana against someone who's mid-30s in Andrea Lee. And Andrea, to me, is a little bit longer in her tooth now. I can't pick Andrea Lee. So I got to go with Montana De La Rosa just because of the youth. And I think that the wrestling, she did get 5 takedowns the first fight. She did lose, but I think she'll be a little bit more effective with it. We'll see, though. I'm not confident in this pick at all. I couldn't be in these 2 fighters, but I'll slightly lean towards a dog, roof in Montana De La Rosa +105. But it's a fight I'm staying the hell away from. What do you think, man?
This is an FAFC fight. If you know what I mean, flip a fucking coin. I mean, this is like super hard to pick. I'm going with you, man. I'm also going with Montana because I'm not really. I don't think Andrea looked great as of late. The last time I saw her doing something good was when she knocked down Viviane Araújo, right in the first round, and that she still lost. I'm going with Montana. This is typical women fight, which goes to a split decision probably.
It very well could. And again, Andrea Lee did win the first fight. Maybe that's a sign. Like it could be like the Nico Price and Alex Morona fight last week, where the fighter who won the first fight won. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I don't have a clear read on the fight. I'm staying away from it. But yeah, it would be a Montana decision pick. I think the fight goes 3 rounds too. I don't know. What do you think? 3 rounds? You're pretty sure.
Yeah. Split decision. What I say. Yeah.
Yep. All right, next fight, we got Brad Katona, Ultimate Fighter winner, taking on Jesse Butler, who probably shouldn't be in the UFC. Katona's a huge favorite, -575, Butler +425. This is pretty hefty odds at Katona, but how do you pick Jesse Butler? I mean, you really can't. The guy looked horrible in his debut against Jim Miller. It was Jim Miller, but horrible performance. He hasn't fought in a year. He's kind of a guy who has only fought, pretty bad competition. Katona, again, Ultimate Fighter winner. He's been in the UFC a long time. He's had some close fights. He's had some good performances. I just think he's going to be able to control the fight for the most part. Like, I'm not loving in the odds here, though. Minus 575 is pretty wide. But he should win. I can't pick Jesse Butler. I'll take Katona to win a decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm picking Jesse Butler to lose by decision. I think.
I like that. Start doing that more often.
I think Katona probably controls him, probably with the ground game. And he's going to play it safe because he lost the last fight against Garrett Outfield. So that's what I think. And Katona is not known for his knockout power or whatever. I think he got 1 or 2 knockouts in his career. I'm taking a decision here.
Fair enough. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. We got Charles Radke taking on Carlos Prates, and the odds for this one have Carlos Prates minus 205, Chuck Buffalo, Charles Radke plus 170. I'll let you start on this one. What do you think?
Yeah, man, and I think those odds are a little bit too wide, in my opinion. Okay. If you look at Charles Radke, he didn't have a good performance, man, in his debut against Mike Mathida or Blood Diamond, whoever you want to call him, is his guy. He barely won that fight, but he won the fight. I think he looked a lot better against Gilbert Urbina last time out. He knocked him out in the first round. If you look at Carlos Prates, he had a really good fight on the Contender Series against Mitch Ramirez, where he knocked him out in the second round. But then he fought Trevin Giles last time, and he was losing that fight until he knocked Trevin Giles out. He didn't look good in that fight at all. So it's kind of difficult, because I think Prates can finish Radke. I'm going for the upset here, man. I think Charles Radke is going to win a decision.
There you go. So Marcel with an upset pick. Radke's definitely outperformed himself according to the odds. Anyways, from the UFC, he's looked pretty good. He's definitely looked good. I mean, for sure, he's got power, for sure, and decent wrestling as well. So I think he's an okay fighter. But to me, Prates, he did start really slow in that last fight against Giles, and it wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't fun to see that if you bet on him like I did. But you saw the knockout power, right? It's pretty amazing. And he's got a ton of experience. And I just think the power really plays, man. I think he's going to be tough to take down. I think he keeps the fight standing. And I think he can knock Radke out here. So we're on the opposite side in this one. I think Prates wins. He is the favorite here. And I think he gets the job done. So that's my pick. Carlos Prates.
Might look back in this 4 years from now, and I'm looking at this this idiot picked Radke instead of Prates, to myself. So
some other people pick Radke. I mean, listen, the guy's decent. He's not.
Yeah.
I know he talks a lot of shit and stuff, but he's a pretty good fighter, man. But for me, Prates, that power is legit, bro. It's very legit.
Giles is Willie. What's Willie?
Not sure. Let's go to the next fight here. We got Thiago Moises, taking on Ludovit Klein. The odds for this one are very close as well, Marcel. Minus 135, Ludovit Klein, Mr. Highlight. Thiago Moises, plus 114. I'll let you start in this one as well.
No, you go first.
Oh, fuck. I think it's one of the hardest fights in the card to call.
That's why I say you go first.
This is a fucking hard fight to call. Very, very difficult. I think both guys are good fighters, I've really been high in Klein for a long time. Even before he came to UFC, I saw those Mr. Highlight head kick knockouts, and he's looked good in the UFC. I think his record's a little bit deceiving because I think he beat Mike Trezano. I think he should have won that fight. And the Jai Herbert fight, draw, but it could have easily been a win too, right? He had was it a point deduction if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he had just one real big stinker, man, against Nate Landwehr.
That's it. And that's not bad looking back, right? At all, I think the guys look great lately. He's shown, obviously amazing striking, but the wrestling's look good too, which is impressive. So he's a good fighter, man. I like him a lot. Then again, Moises, fought really good competition. He's fought beasts basically his whole career. He's been in the UFC a long time now. He's very tough. He's been in there with all the best guys. He's won 3 of his last 4 fights. He's been destroying guys lately too. So he's been impressive, man. And again, I do think about that Nate Landwehr fight where he got the takedown and submitted him. So it's tough. It's a tough fight to call, but to me, I'm slightly leaning Moises by maybe a submission or maybe just a decision, but I think maybe the grappling can win him this fight. If he stands and trades, I think he'll be in trouble. I know his strikings look better, obviously, but he should get the fight to the ground and go for a submission here. I'll go Moises, Marcel. It's a close one, though. What do you think? It's a dog, so roof. What do you think?
Yeah, the thing is, like, I got to go Moises as well here,
There you go.
for the simple reason that Moises is more proven against a better competition,
Yeah.
and he never goes out without putting on a fight, in my opinion. And if you look at Ludovit Klein, he's a really good fighter, don't get me wrong, but the Jai Herbert fight, he would have lost that one if Jai Herbert didn't get a point deducted. And not saying that Jai Herbert is a bad fighter or whatever, but I think if you look at Thiago Moises, he's been proven more, and he's still good, He's still solid, he's still decent, he's good on the ground, the striking is solid. I like Klein a lot, but I gotta go with Moises here, man. And I wouldn't be bad if Klein surprises me here, because I think it would be fun if Klein can get to the top 15.
He's fun.
But man, I'm going for. I think Moises is a safe pick here.
There you go. So he's an underdog, but we will pick him here, so that's interesting. Yeah. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We have this is the main card. We got Miguel Baeza taking on Puna Soriano, who's making the drop down to welterweight, which is obviously something to keep in mind here. Odds for this one: Miguel Baeza minus 170, Puna plus 142. I'll let you start on this one. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's Puna is going down to welterweight, right? Did he fight at welterweight before he came in the UFC? Actually,
he might have, but he had in all his fights in the UFC been middleweight fights, right? So,
okay, so
I can take a look though while you're talking. Go ahead.
Okay, Puna needs to win. It's pretty clear, and Miguel needs to win as well. That's probably why it's on the main card, because both guys needing a win.
Can I answer the question now? By the way, all his fights have been at middleweight except for his his MMA debut, which was at heavyweight.
Okay. The thing is, like, Baeza has been knocked out in two of his last three fights. Puna has that knockout power in his fist, On the other side, Puna hasn't looked great as of lately. Only got the win over Dalcha Lunjabula, where he also had struggled in the first round. I'm picking, although I don't think his chin is really up there anymore, but I'm still going with Baeza. I think he has more ways to win. I'm going with a decision win for Miguel Baeza here.
Both guys' chins are not really there. I would stay away from this one. I don't think either guy's safe. I don't think it goes the distance, though. I don't think so. I did say against the Almeida fight last week, but this one I don't think it goes the distance. Both very finishable. Miguel hasn't fought in 2 years. He's been knocked out in his last couple of fights. I was really high on him coming to the UFC, man. Or like when his first couple of fights, he looked great and then kind of fell off. Soriano too. I mean, I was really high on him. He's fallen off. So yeah, I mean, both guys they're kind of fades. I wish you could fade them both. You can't. You have to pick one. I'm leading the dog here a little bit. Rough. Soriano, just because I think he's got more power and I think he can catch Baeza and knock him out. But I mean, how could you be confident in him? How could you? To me, it's a pick-up fight. I think, at plus 140, that would lead towards Soriano here, but I just want to stay away from it too. It's just too hard for me to be confident in these guys. So Soriano's a dog, but it's not confident. It's not confident. I picked a few dogs in this card, but I'm not super confident in them. Let's go to the next fight here. We got Julian Marquez taking on Zach Reese. Odd for this one. Zach Reese is favored minus. Excuse me. Actually, the line flipped here. Zach Reese opened at minus 200. Now the line is Julian Marquez minus 115, Zach Reese minus 105. I guess I'm taking another dog then, Marcel. Slight dog here, minus 105, Zach Reese. I can't pick Julian Marquez. I can't do it. There's no way. The guy's been getting absolutely just destroyed in his last couple of fights. Marco-André Ribeiro destroyed him. Gregory Rodriguez destroyed him. I know he's got some good experience in the UFC. He's got more wins, obviously, than Zach Reese, who doesn't have, other than that fight with Brundage, he has no fights in the UFC. But it's a fade on Marquez. I can't pick him. I can't do it, dude. I've just seen enough that I just can't do it. Zach Reese, physically he's a huge guy. And I think he'll have a better performance than that debut against Brundage, which is about as bad as it can get. He's got some power. Most of his wins are by stoppage. I think he can knock Marquez out. That's my pick. Reese by knockout. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to fade Marquez here. What do you think, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm also not really confident in Zach Reese. Don't get me wrong, man. But it's like you got to pick one guy, and I think Zach Reese, he will bounce back from that loss to Cody Brundage. I'm picking him by TKO early in the fight. Yeah,
I'd look for that prop. Maybe take a look at Reese by knockout, just as a fade on Marquez's chin, because he's been getting brutally knocked out. You've seen a few guys in this card, guys getting brutally knocked out the last couple of fights, like Marquez, Baeza. Soriano's also been knocked out recently. There's a few other ones probably that I'm forgetting, but yeah, what's his name? Stoltzfus. I know he won his last fight, but Dominic Reyes. I mean, there's a few, right? So, by the way, I love this comment. Walking out of work while watching the podcast, can't for ourselves. Love you, man. We appreciate you, brother. Marquez versus Reese, unders all day. Daniel Edwards, we haven't seen you in the chat in a long time, man. Glad to have you here, friend. Good to have you here. Remember watching Dan Hardy's podcast, he said Caramel Thunder would be a fire porn star name for Miguel Baeza. That's his nickname, but that is a pretty good porn star name for sure. All right, we'll go to the next fight here, Marcel. This is another middleweight bout. There's a lot of middleweight bouts on this card. Bruno Ferreira taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Bruno's minus 265. Oh, wait.
What would be your porn name if you go to Imp?
Yeah, I thought they picked your street name or something like that. Didn't they pick your street name and like your last name or middle name or something? Wasn't that how they used to do it back in the day?
I know. I think I would go with Fluffernutter Snorlax or something.
Oh my god. See, like I haven't, like unlike Marcel, I haven't actually thought about this stuff before. I'm gonna say no comment. For once in my life, I'll say no comment, Marcel.
Okay, whatever you want, dude.
Let's get back to the fights. You got Bruno Ferreira taking on Dustin Stoltzfus. Bruno's minus 265. Dustin's plus 215. Dustin did look really good against Puna Soriano, but to me, again, it's kind of like Soriano's such a decline. I don't know what to think about that. Overall, Dustin has not looked very good in the UFC. Bruno's kind of up and down too. You know, the Nursultan fight was not a good performance, but bounced back against Phil Hawes, brutal fashion. Gregory Rodriguez fight was nice. Contender series, huge power. And to me, again, Stoltzfus is a guy with not a great chin. So I got to go with Bruno Ferreira by knockout. I just don't love the odds though. Minus 265 seems a little heavy for a guy who has also been finished. And, you know, I don't know. He's kind of, to me, he looks like he's first rounder bust, right? So not sure about this one, guys. I lean Bruno by knockout, but I'm not rushing to the window for him. What do you think, Ben?
You call me Ben?
I called you man, but
I heard
Ben.
Ben.
You Ben now.
Okay.
What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, Keith, I don't know, but I'm picking Bruno Ferreira here. I think he knocks him out early in the first round. That's my pick.
Yeah, it could be exciting. I mean, I think it'll be exciting, right? I think all these fights in the main card actually are pretty good. So I think most of them finish inside the distance too. We'll see what happens though. All right, we'll go to the next fight here. We got Marcel. You dropped off.
Yeah, I know. My eyes are itching like a motherfucker, so I'm just
stop smoking weed during the podcast. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We got Raul Rosas Jr. against Ricky Turcios. The rebooking. The fight got canceled earlier this year. The Mexico card. Now we get to see it again. And the odds for this one have Raul Rosas Jr. minus 245. Ricky Turcios plus 200. I think we both picked Raul the first time, right? Yeah.
I'll keep the pick.
Yeah, me too. But like, let me ask you a question: Does the weight miss change? Like, not the whatever happened, not the weight miss, but just the fact he didn't fight. Does that change anything for you at all?
Not really, because we are like a couple of months later. So
yeah, decision or submission? I'm
going decision.
I'm going decision too because I think Turcios is pretty good defensively. I don't think he's been finished on the ground, right? So I think a decision is. You know, I think it's a good pick here. I think maybe if you get plus money on that, maybe that's the way to look at it. I do think Rosas wins. Let's go to the next fight here. We got Dominic Reyes taking on Dustin Jacoby. And the odds for this one have Dustin Jacoby minus 218, Dominic Reyes plus 180. Again, there's a lot of fighters we've said this on. You have to fade them here, and you have to fade Dominic. I can't pick him, man. And the crazy thing is, like a few years ago, I was one of the people that thought he beat John Jones. I do think he beat Jones. I thought he won a decision in that fight. But since then, 3 straight knockout losses. And again, you know, you can say something about Blachowicz and Prochazka. Those are like, you know, elite guys. But getting destroyed by Ryan Spann's a bad look. He hasn't fought in almost 2 years now. He's facing another elite striker, Dustin Jacoby. I know Dustin struggled a bit. He's getting up there in age now. He's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. I get that. But still an elite striker, huge power. I think he puts the lights on, man. I think it's a good matchup for Dustin. I think he knocks Dominic out. Dominic, I don't think will have the grappling to take this fight to the ground. On the feet, I think Jacoby's got more volume, more power, and I think the better chin. I think Dustin knocks him out in the first round. What do you think?
Yeah, Reyes has some health issues, man. I think he talked about it in James Lynch's interview recently. I hope he does well, but I also cannot pick him, man. I also think Dustin Jacoby puts him away in the first round. So, yeah. Also, Jacoby for me. I'm completely with you.
Yep, I'm with you too. All right, we'll go to the main event here, guys. One last fight here to break down on the podcast. And we have a good one for you. The main event of UFC Fight Night Louisville is middleweight bout between Jared Cannonier and Nassourdine Imavov. Nassourdine Imavov minus 142, Jared Cannonier plus 120. Marcel, take it away, my friend.
Oh, it's Jared Cannonier underdog here, man. I don't understand it. I know he's 40, but he's a good-looking 40, man. I mean, he looked really good last time against Vittori, besides that first 3 minutes, I think, of the first round. Imavov gasses every fucking fight, you know. He always has trouble. He won against Dolice, but he also gassed in that fight, but Dolice did as well, so didn't have too much trouble of it. It's pretty easy, man. I mean, as long as Imavov doesn't finish Cannonier, which I don't think will happen, Cannonier wins this fight, you know, maybe even with stoppage, but I'm going with a decision win for Jared Cannonier. I think he wins this fight any day.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, rough, right? Could we have a consensus dog here? Because I think the wrong fighter's favored. Like the other dogs on the card that I picked, I wasn't like 100% sure on. I like Jared a lot in this fight. I really like Jared here, man. And I cannot believe he's plus 120. It's just because he's 40, isn't it? It must be. Because like he's proven way more in the UFC. First off, he's got tons of experience. He's fought the best guys. He has a win over Strickland. He has a win over Anderson Silva. He's got, you know, experience in 3 weight classes. He's a tremendous striker. He has some of the best cardio in the division. He's got really good takedown defense. There's just a lot to like about Jared Cannonier. And Marcel, he is coming off one of the most lopsided wins you'll ever see in the UFC. He had the record for most strikes landed, 241 significant strikes landed against Marvin Vettori. Just broke his face in half, basically. It was incredible. I know he's taken a year off. I get that. It's been a while. He got injured and stuff. But regardless, I think he's the better fighter right now. Imavov's good. He's a solid fighter. He looked okay against Dolice. It was majority decision, but it should have been unanimous, right? But the Strickland fight, you know, and this is a guy that I kind of feel like can, you know, match up similarly, right? Where Strickland volume striker, I think Jared does the same thing. I think Imavov will probably survive the distance, but I think that the damage will accumulate in this fight.
Yeah.
Like really, like if you're picking Imavov, what do you think he's the better striker? I just don't agree. You know, do you think he's the better grappler? He probably is, but will he get the fight to the ground easily? I don't think so. And who has the better cardio for 5 rounds? I would say Jared.
Honestly, Jared can finish him late, even. I think, you know.
Well, it's possible. Remember that fight with Phil Hawes, I think? Was that the one? Or no, Buckley, where he slowed down badly? Buckley
and it was the 3rd round, yeah.
And against Strickland, he slowed down. Dude, I mean, I can't. I actually, no, let me think. He actually might have won the last round against Strickland, but I think Strickland just took his foot off the gas because it was like he won all the rounds. Dude, plus 120. I really like Jared in this fight. I'm taking him all day. Take him all day. Live bet Jared and Imavov wins round 1. You could. I mean, because I think, Imavov probably wins the first round, but I mean, maybe not. Maybe not. I like Jared a lot in this fight, man. Plus 120 is good odds. Like him a lot. Who do you guys have in Duplessis Cannonier? To me, that's a close fight. To me, that's a very close fight. Jared's the forgotten guy in this division. No one talks about him. Everyone's like, oh, let's talk about Izzy. Let's talk about Duplessis. Let's talk about Strickland. Let's talk about Whitaker. Let's talk about Chimaev. Yeah. What about fucking Jared Cannonier? He's a good fighter, dude. He's very good.
Yes.
He's awesome. He's an awesome fighter. I respect him a lot, man. I think he's really good.
He only lost 2 decisions at middleweight against Adesanya and Whitaker.
The Whitaker fight, dude, he had a broken arm, and he still came back and dropped. He didn't drop him, but he came back in the 3rd round. Remember?
He won the 3rd round. Yeah.
And then if that was 5 rounds, maybe he would have won. Maybe. And then Izzy, he blew it against Izzy.
Yeah.
Didn't do enough, but I kind of feel like he just gotten forgot about. I just don't understand these odds. Maybe it'll tighten up. Maybe the line will flip. I don't know. It's weird. It's freaking weird odds to me because I think he's the clear favorite here. So
yeah, my opinion as well.
I think he should be like minus 150 favorite. I don't know why he's plus 120. Anyways, just recapping the picks, guys. We actually had some underdog picks here. We had a couple consensus dogs. So consensus dog, Marcel, we'll go through them really quick. We both had Jared Cannonier plus 120.
Yeah.
We both had Zach Reese minus 105. No slight dog, but we'll take it. We both had Thiago Moises plus 114. Mm-hmm. We both had Montana De La Rosa plus 105. I also had, again, close fight, but I had Daniel Marcos minus 105, and you had
Sexy Mexi.
He's a slight favorite, actually. What was the other dog? Oh, I also took, you took Radke plus 170, and I also took Puna at plus 142. So I'm taking like 5 dogs in this card. So I picked all the favorites last week. Now I'm taking 5 dogs. So I mean, it's just every card's different, right? And,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, and for me, like I think there's a lot of fights in this card that are landmines. I'd be careful on this card, guys.
Definitely, if there are some stupid odds like Cannonier being the elder, I really don't get that. I really don't.
Let me ask you a question. So, who's your most confident pick in the card besides Jerry? Because I know you really like him. But who's your most confident pick?
My most confident pick, I would go probably Eduarda, Moura, and Brad Katona.
Do you like Dustin Jacoby a lot too?
Yeah, but I wouldn't put in my top 3 most confident picks.
Fair enough. I like it. All right, we'll take a couple questions, guys. Almost 6 o'clock. We'll take a couple questions before we get out of here. Cannonier Duplessis would be a lot of fun. Any other questions, guys? Throw them in the chat really quick before we go. Marcel, what time is it? Midnight?
5 minutes before midnight. Yeah.
2 minutes to midnight. You know that song by Iron Maiden?
No, I actually don't.
You know,
maybe I've heard it, but
you know Iron Maiden?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Have you played Grand Theft Auto?
Yeah.
It was in that game back in the day. In the V, I think it was on the V-Rock radio station. That Laszlo guy. You know that?
Was it 2 minutes before midnight?
2 minutes to midnight. It's a classic song. It's a classic.
Okay.
I love it. I saw Iron Maiden once in concert too. They were great. They're awesome. But anyways, if you guys have any last second questions, throw them in the chat. If not, we're just going to close it up. But I'm waiting to see if we got any. I think Race might grapple with Jacoby. Maybe, but I don't know how much success he's going to have personally. I missed the podcast. Do you guys think they would let Islam fight Leon? He doesn't seem interested, dude. He didn't seem interested. Any clue happened to Krylov? I don't know. What happened?
No idea.
Did he fight in the war like Imavov or no?
Or
wait, he's not. Dude. Is he? Did he change his flag too? Did he change?
He is from he's from Ukraine, but he's from the Donbass area. So he feels also Russian, and
all right.
So he's like in between.
Okay, I don't know what's going on with him. Hopefully he's okay. I mean, because I like Krylov, he's a fun fighter to watch. All right, okay, I think that's good. I mean, I asked, and there's not a ton out there. So, anyways, guys, we appreciate it. We obviously had a lot of fun doing the show. We'll get back next week for you guys, and we'll have another preview show for you. So until then, have a great day, guys. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon. Good luck with your picks. Good luck with your bets. Talk to you later. Peace.